Hi everyone, hello, my name is Rob Jensen. I'm the owner of Avant-Garde College Prep Services, and today I have Catalena with me and Elisabeth Stewart. And so today's episode, we're really going to focus on test preparation. Summer's coming up, a lot of students are really kind of concerned about their test scores, SAT, ACT, being able to do well in those tests as they prepare for college. And the summertime is a really big moment for when they spend many of their moments, spending much of their time trying to prepare for these tests. So today, Kate and Elisabeth are going to talk about their test prep experience, and sort of how, as what we consider high scores, individuals that have done extremely well, and how they sort of push their scores to another level in that way. And they're going to share some of their own individual experiences and how they sort of successfully been able to do that. So with that said, Kate, if you want to kind of just lead us off, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Kate Catalena, yes, and I am a junior at A&M Consolidated High School. I play tennis. I love tennis, and I like to read and write.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Elisabeth, you want to share a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Elisabeth, and I'm a junior, rising senior at College Station High School. I'm a member of our National Honor Society, and I am an editor on the Catamount newspaper, and I really enjoy writing and reading and language learning as well.
Awesome. And so we have these two young females with us today. They attend kind of opposing high schools here locally. Both real, well ranked in their high schools, and they've got big aspirations after college. And so tennis, I play tennis, certainly. I love enjoying conversing with you and talking to you about your tennis experience, and so that's always a nice reminder and throwback to my high school days just as well. But with that said, I mean, about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer, y'all began thinking about the SAT, and that whole, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to necessarily navigate this and succeed? Kind of tell us some of your initial feelings that you had as you were sort of begin to approach this process of test preparation.
So at first, before I hadn't really done studying, when I thought about taking ACT, SAT, I was pretty nervous, but or even more than that, just unsure. I just didn't know how well I would do, or if something would go terribly wrong. But then after doing test prep, taking practice tests, I was starting to feel much more confident.
Yeah, I definitely resonate with what you said. If I'm being completely honest, I was absolutely terrified because I had no idea what I was doing. And I really care about my schoolwork and my college application, and I wanted to start building a good application for myself. And I'm the type of person who wants to prepare for every possible scenario. And I knew that I could do that with my essays and my grades, and even AP testing and things like that. But the SAT seemed like that one thing that I couldn't control.
Right.
And I didn't want to get a bad SAT score and have that wreck my entire application and everything else that I had done.
Yeah, so it's something, I mean, even though y'all taken PSATs before,
right?
Y'all taken those, and that's kind of been a prelude to possibly what to expect. But as you sort of mentioned, it's an area of your test or an area of your college preparation process that you don't largely have as much of, a command of, in some ways, of what the actual end results may yield or be at the end of it. Can you kind of just maybe elaborate on that a little bit more? What you may have expected, like kind of as you both talked about having some nervous energy, part of that. Like, what kind of results were you expecting at the end of the process there?
Well, just building on what Elisabeth was saying, it can be terrifying just because you don't know. You're not sure how hard it will be, and once you've taken it, it's official. Probably, yes, official. So that's a big reason to be nervous, but there are ways to combat that.
Yeah. Good.
I just had like this huge fear of walking into the SAT room on testing day and seeing a bunch of problems that I didn't know how to do. And I also, while taking the PSAT, my biggest issue was time. And I would always finish a test and just have a row or a column of blank questions. And I just did not want that to happen to me. So my biggest thing going in was that I wanted to finally walk into a testing room and feel confident, like I had done well. and not have that blank column.
Yeah, and that's definitely a very a common fear, also a problem that many students will happen to encounter is like, with these standardized tests, they come with time constraints, and with those time constraints is, learning to kind of navigate the test and work in between the questions or the passages and making sure that at the end of the test experience or the end of the section that you largely feel very confident about the outcome of what you just produced in some ways. Can you tell us just kind of a little bit about as y'all both approached it pretty heavily last summer, a little bit about what that experience looked like for you?
For me, it looked like coming in, I guess at one point nearly every week to take practice tests or do the lessons. And I felt like what I did last summer, the Elite Custom Plan, was very comprehensive and gave me a lot of time to mix taking the practice tests with direct instruction. And it felt like as I kept going, I was building so much more knowledge about not only the SAT, but subjects that I encounter in school, especially in math. That was my biggest weakness on the SAT.
Yeah.
For me, it's about the same. I actually think I took a lot of practice tests at home, and then I would bring them back to you, and you would help me go over anything that I missed, what my strengths and weaknesses were, and just the one-on-one instruction is really helpful.
Yeah. And both of y'all, as y'all came in, as we did some preliminary assessments with each of you, we well understood that you already had pretty strong scores, but your ambitions and your goals that you had for each one of you was that you wanted much higher for yourself. And by looking at that, we understood that you were largely in striking distance for national merit. And so within that, we were able to kind of set a very comfortable goal of what we believed what was going to be for the state of Texas, and the end result was that y'all both largely cleared that, right? And so fully anticipate that each of you being named national merit semifinalists this September and stuff. So given the results and what we've known from past results, that y'all both cleared that whole hurdle. So yeah, what can you potentially say as y'all came in? You did practice tests. One of the things that we really focused on was being able to kind of hone in on very specific concepts or strategies, because as where y'all at, the Elite Custom Plan allows for that. It allows us to better understand what areas that you've largely mastered in respect to the SAT, and what areas and gaps that still remain for us to sort of fill in. Was there any, maybe like one or two things that you can maybe kind of zero in a little bit more on what we were able to do in those sessions with you?
For me, some things to zero in on, I would definitely say working through problems with you, or you teaching me terms or just problem types, especially in math, that I didn't really have much experience with or didn't know how to solve. That was really helpful. I really like the one-on-one instruction.
Yeah.
I agree with Kate. Identifying the problem types in both math and the reading section was so helpful, because it would be great if we could sit down and go through every possible question that will ever be on the SAT, but that's not possible. But we can look at every question type. So that was great, because when I took the practice test and I took the real test, there was never a question that I saw that I didn't recognize the type of question. And the other thing that was helpful for me with the targeted instruction was that every time I took a practice test, it was like a funnel that was like narrowing down my weaknesses, and like we would take a practice test and then go through everything that I missed and identify the types of questions that I missed and kind of group them. And so it was like a funnel that was leading me so that I would just be getting more right and less wrong. And I really liked that, and I could see clear progress. And at first, as we did that, it was like I was slowly climbing. I think like with each practice test, I would only increase by 10 points And I remember Robb telling me at some point that I just needed to break through that barrier, the 1500 barrier.
Yeah.
And when I finally did that, it was like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, it's kind of like that glass ceiling of sorts that you keep inching towards, and it's like once you finally break through that moment, then it's like really no looking back on it and stuff. And I think that's one thing y'all sort of allude to, the both of you, the categorization of the problems and being able to understand, like, yes, this is this certain type of problem. It may not be precisely the same, but it's a small permutation or iteration of a previous one, and it's close enough that you can recognize certain pieces of it and knowing how to exactly respond to it, and so I think that's where a lot of the confidence so happens to come from, is just having that reassurance that, oh, I've seen something very similar to this. This is how I worked the previous one. This is how I can kind of respond to this one in some ways. You're a tennis player.
Yes.
I remember playing tennis.
Yes.
And so I remember there was certainly like certain opponents. You see a serve kind of come off the racket or something like that, and it's like some days you almost see the ball so much bigger than what it really is because what's coming.
Right. Some people have similar styles to other people, and then when you play a new person with a style that you've played before, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Because you can use your knowledge.
Yeah. So you kind of have that, the previous context of what that looks like, and I think that's very true for a lot of different things. I mean, I don't know if y'all see it in any other areas of your life, in some ways where you begin to kind of see the context of something and knowing that, oh, I've kind of seen something similar to this or anything. So along with that, both of you did fabulous. Y'all were both wrapped up by, when did you take your last test? For the
for SAT?
Yeah, SAT. Were you done in?
I think it was August or September, maybe October.
October, and you were of your junior year.
Yes.
Yeah, and what about? I think you had to go a little bit longer, right?
I took my last test in December of 2020, so my junior year.
Yes.
Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Yes. Everything feels like 2020 sometimes.
Yeah. So true.
Oh my God, that was a very long year, wasn't it? But with that, I mean, so both of you didn't have to worry about your test.
That was great.
In the spring of your junior year, right? Yeah. So what did all that kind of allow you to afford you to do? Like just having that off your plate, not.
Right. It really just relieved a lot of stress, and it definitely gave a sense of appreciation for having already worked hard, so that you could just take it a few times and be done.
Yeah.
So it was so worth it to have worked for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a huge relief to know that was just one thing I had knocked off my to-do list. And I feel bad for my friends who are taking the spring SATs, knowing that I already knocked it out, but I'm also proud of myself for having done that already.
Yeah. I'm always of the big kind of the mindset, try to get in and get out. It's almost like we kind of take like a surgical approach to it. And that's one of the benefits of the Elite Custom Plan is that, as we begin to kind of have more results with our clients, is to kind of be able to understand with more precision where are the problematic spots, where are you frustrated with the part of the test, and how can we sort of begin to, in a very strategic way, attack those frustrations and break through it. And so that's one of our biggest goals, is largely having those clients done by the winter break, and you can focus on your studies.
Right.
You can focus on your AP test. You can go and visit colleges with the mindset or with the peace of mind, knowing that your scores are a good fit for those colleges, and sort of begin to really confidently pursue, knowing, as you said, sort of checked off that part of the box and stuff. So, I mean, y'all are excellent clients for that. Y'all did superb with that process, and great representatives of it. Can you talk, as if y'all kind of get back in that frame of mind? I know it's been some time that you've taken the test, but can you kind of maybe talk us and let some of the others know, like, the actual test day, Like, what was a little bit of your preparation, or maybe the night before? Like, what was your preparation to those tests? Like, what kind of helped you, or what did you actually sort of do to put you in that right frame of mind to do as well as you did?
For me, it was, well, eat a good meal.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good dinner and have a good breakfast. I am fueled by food. I have to eat well to do well in anything I do. Whether it's tennis or just thinking, have to get a good breakfast. That was probably it for me.
Yeah.
Get a good breakfast and don't let yourself be excessively terrified walking into that room, because that can also mess with your mind.
Yeah.
And you prepared for this. It's important to just do your best once you're in that room.
Yeah, I definitely just walking in, just even if you don't feel confident, pretending that you feel confident.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always went to bed early the night before a test. I think among high schoolers, there's the tendency to want to stay up till 3 a.m. cramming for a test, but I convinced myself for the SAT that I already knew everything that I needed to, and I just needed to trust in that. But the week leading up to the exam, I typically looked over my notes from the Elite Custom Plan, especially the things that I struggled with, and I just looked over those notes. I had this huge box of note packets, and I just chose the ones that I really wanted to focus in on.
Yeah, definitely just sort of having those sort of resurface and bring those to the front of your mind again, and just, learning to, again, sort of strengthen your recognition of those certain concepts. And so, and you mentioned a good meal. Definitely, as you're taking the test, you don't want to be having to deal with hunger pangs or anything, or other things that can be a distraction. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, both of you, confidence is extremely key. And I think that's very true with many things that you so happen to approach in life, whether it's like a presentation you have to give or something, or maybe you're being introduced or meeting someone that's kind of big for the very first time, and so being able to kind of come across that. And but yeah, those are very good pieces of advice that you're sharing and to help others. Is there anything else that you may have learned through this process? Anything else that maybe as you kind of look back on was maybe a bit humorous at this time, now that you've sort of done it, and maybe at the moment it wasn't, or any other last pieces of wisdom or advice you wanted to share?
I'd like to say, trust the process. You'll take your first practice test, and maybe you'll get more wrong than you want to, and you'll think that there'll be a point where you'll think that there's no hope, but there is hope. Just trust the process and keep practicing, because there is a way to tackle the SAT and any standardized test where you can feel confident. Yeah.
For me, I would definitely just say, for a healthy mind, it's crucial to just maintain a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So find times to exercise, find people you can trust in and go to, and to refresh you, build good relationships, spend time outside. It's good. And that just helps you function well all around.
Yeah, I think what y'all both mentioned, the process, and I know me being I'm a very process-oriented guy, certainly looking at and always examining the results and how can we improve on the results, and knowing that we're working to meet a certain goal, part of that. And as you sort of mentioned, certainly, it's important for your own mental health that you take care of yourself, because if it doesn't, if you allow certain pieces of negativity to start to infiltrate your own life in some ways, it can kind of be able to permeate into other ways, and could affect your classes or your test scores or whatever it may be. So but certainly awesome job, both of y'all, fabulous. And so I want to congratulate you both. Look forward to following the process along, and understanding how things continue to unfold for you. Definitely did extremely well with this, but I think for today, certainly we've we've done well to sort of talk about their experience and what may be able to unfold for you. If y'all have any questions about test preparation, anything regarding to the SAT or the ACT, and you want to know as to maybe which test is a good fit or where you may happen to stand, you always can get in touch with us at avantgardeprep.com or give us a call at 979-450-7151. Thank you so much. We're signing off. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.